President Biden is back in Washington this morning after campaigning in Michigan yesterday, mobilizing volunteers in his election fight against former President Donald Trump. Biden visited the city of Saginaw, a diverse area with a plurality of Black and Latino voters, in an effort to reach out to minority groups in the state, according to the campaign. The president, however, did not officially meet with any of the state's Arab or Muslim community leaders, despite the state's large Arab American community. This also comes after 13% of voters in last month's primary chose uncommitted, protesting the president's handling of the war in Gaza. White House officials did, however, meet privately with Arab and Muslim leaders in Chicago while Biden was in Michigan. Those leaders also expressed concerns over the president's handling of the war. Join the conversation. We have the host of the podcast On Brand with Donny Deutsch. Donny Deutsch, president of the National Action Network and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton, and special correspondent at Vanity Fair and host of the Fast Politics podcast, Molly Jong-Fast. She's an MSNBC political analyst. And Jonathan Lemire and Eugene Robinson are back with us as well for this hour. Thank you all.
So, Jonathan, any explanation from the White House why they didn't visit Arab American leaders in Michigan?
The short answer is that they don't have anything yet to tell them that would be received as good news. They were not able to have a deliverable like, look, we have a ceasefire or we're on the brink of one.
Right.
But we've made significant progress with humanitarian aid. Those meetings will happen. The president will have to meet with those leaders at some point in the weeks and months ahead. But you'll recall that some top Biden campaign officials were rebuffed. They were denied audiences with Muslim and Arab leaders in Michigan a few weeks ago. So yesterday, the president focused on other groups, Black and Latino voters, try to make a pitch towards young voters. Now, some Biden officials did meet in Chicago with some Muslim leaders there. So there was a meeting discussing some of the topics here at hand. But I'm told the White House and the Biden campaign staff just didn't feel like the moment was quite right for the president to do it when there's such palpable anger. But that moment is going to have to come. As much as the campaign does think that they have other ways to victory in Michigan, they know this is an issue. Not that these voters are going to vote for Trump, but they might find a third-party candidate or stay home. They're going to have to deal with it head on. They just hope they can do it when they have a little better news to report from Gaza.
And Reverend Al, it appears that from our communication yesterday, and also this event, our communication offline yesterday, and this event, that the Biden-Harris campaign is really leaning in to people of color, whether it's focusing their message to certain neighborhoods, or what we saw happen yesterday in Saginaw.
Yeah.
There's no question they're focusing, and they're really focusing by trying to say that here are the facts. They've released a comparison between President Biden and President Trump when Trump was in office. This is what you gained from President Biden. We have closed the wealth gap between blacks and whites by 60%. You've gained jobs. Unemployment is lower than it's been for blacks in decades. Under Trump, unemployment was double blacks what it is now. Under Trump, you lost thousands of people with health insurance. So I think the comparison that they are trying to make is very effective, because for the first time since we can probably remember, certainly since '56, we have two candidates facing each other who ran before, and Adlai Stevenson had not been president. So you take advantage of the fact that you have 4 years to judge Trump by, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're Arab American, and you have 4 years to compare that, or 3 years now, to Joe Biden. And it's almost a joke when Donald Trump would say you better off than you were 4 years ago under me, when you look at the data and the facts, and that's what they're bringing to our communities.